Good day, family, and welcome back to my channel, The Mysterious Black Bandit. Before we get started, I need a quick favor. Tap that little thumbs up symbol right below the views, and then tap that little red bell over to the side of it. Alright, did you do it? Okay, thank you. Now let's get to the video. In today's video, we'll be talking about the legendary Stanley Tookie Williams. Stanley Tookie Williams III was born on December 29, 1953 in New Orleans, Louisiana. His mother, Louisiana Williams, was only 17 years old when she had him, and before his first birthday, his father abandoned them, leaving her to take care of him on her own. In hopes of finding and living a better life, Williams and his mother got on a Greyhound bus and left New Orleans to head to South Central Los Angeles, California, where she rented their first apartment. Williams recalled the area looking like a shiny red apple rotten to the core. At the age of 6, his mother worked several jobs to support them. And while she was working, Williams wandered the streets and hung in abandoned houses and vacant lots around the neighborhood, where he would watch older people get drunk, abuse drugs, gamble, and engage in dog fights. He stated that after adults was finished with their dog fighting, they would make the children that was around fight each other, including himself, and bet on them. As a new kid on the block, Williams was targeted by bullies and street thugs in his neighborhood, so by the age of 12, he began carrying a spring knife or a switchblade to try to protect himself. Once Williams became a teenager, his reputation for being a good and vicious street fighter in the South Central's West Side quickly gained him respect, but his fighting would get him expelled from Raymond Washington Preparatory High School. His mother tried her best to get him in several other schools, but his fighting reputation got him blackballed, so he eventually had to spend periods of time in central juvenile halls. Soon after, Williams began skipping school. He believed that he was destined to be what they called disease-educated, a term they used to describe the impaired and diseased knowledge they received from school and streets. In the late 1960s, there was an increase in the violence among the youth. Williams initially despised these gangs, but because of his viciousness and willingness to fight older youth, many gang members respected him and wanted him to join their cliques. At age 15, he was invited to the West Side clique after he befriended a local teenager, Arnold Sweetback Archie. Not too long after joining, one of the members insulted Williams' mother, and Williams gave him the beatdown of a lifetime. And afterwards, Williams became the unofficial leader as his violent reputation began to spread across South Central. At 16 years old, Williams was arrested for car theft and was sent to Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall in Downey, which was located in southeast of Los Angeles, California. While Williams was doing his time in the detention center, the facility's gym coach introduced him to Olympic weightlifting, which piqued his interest in bodybuilding. Before Williams' release, he was asked by the board what he planned on doing when he got out, in which he replied he was going to be the leader of the biggest gang in the world. Shortly after his release, Williams was approached by a guy named Raymond Washington. Washington was from the South Central East Side, where he too was a prominent gangster, similar to Williams. He proposed to Williams that they should use their influence in the regions they were from to form the largest street gang. And in 1971, the two young men came together and formed an alliance that became known as the Crips. Now, I'm not sure how true this is, but in one version of the story, the original name was called the Crips, C-R-I-B-S. Crips, but drunken members of the gang kept mispronouncing the name as Crips, so that stuck. Reports stated that their initial purpose of creating the Crips was to create a bull force to protect the neighborhood and address all the so-called neighboring gangs. But Williams said that he wanted to create a force powerful enough to protect local black people from racism, corruption, and brutality at the hands of the police. But they soon morphed into the same monster they was trying to address. The original Crips allegedly consisted of approximately 30 members. Then they soon divided into West Side and East Side Crips. Williams and Washington went on a violent and aggressive recruiting campaign throughout the black hoods in Los Angeles. They would meet with other gang leaders and challenge them to a one-on-one street fight. Now, Williams was only 5 foot 10 inches tall, but nearly 300 pounds, with his neck size being measured at close to 20 inches, and when he flexed, his arm was measured at 22 inches wide. Reports state that he attempted to compete in amateur bodybuilding competitions, but when they found out he was a gang leader, they denied him. But later on, he was offered to do a posing routine on a television show in the 70s. As you can imagine, with Williams' size and reputation alone, most gangs willingly agreed to join the Crips, and they quickly became the biggest street gang both in numbers and territory. Now, the smaller gangs that rejected their proposal knew that they had to do something to combat the Crips, so they formed a similar alliance, branding themselves as the Bloods. Soon after, the LA Brims and the Chain Gang joined the Blood Alliance and became the Brims and the Inglewood family Bloods. Over the years, the violent war between the Crips, Bloods, and Hispanic gangs escalated to the point that fighting using firearm opposed to fist fighting was the norm. In 1976, Williams was letting his dog out one evening, and while sitting on the porch, a vehicle filled with Blood members drove up slowly and opened fire. Williams attempted to avoid getting hit by diving to the ground from the porch, but was shot in both legs. Doctors told Williams that he would never walk again, but after a year or so of physical rehabilitation and a strenuous workout regimen, he regained his ability to walk again. Now let you guys know that I only found one report of this incident to be true. Now let's get back to it. It was stated that the gangster lifestyle had started taking a toll on him, and Williams developed a substance abuse problem and began smoking PCP. On February 28, 1979, Williams and 3 friends drove around the east coast of Los Angeles smoking PCP-laced cigarettes in search of a place to rob when they came across a 7-Eleven convenience store. Williams and the 3 other guys entered the store with their guns, and while the 3 men took what was in the cash register, Williams allegedly shot out the security camera and walked Albert Owens, the clerk, into the back room and killed him with 2 execution-style shots to the back. Then on March 11, 1979, on his own accord, broke into the office of Brookhaven Motel in South Central Los Angeles, owned and operated by an immigrant family from Taiwan, and allegedly killed 3 members, including their daughter who was visiting. Williams denied these allegations and stated that he was framed by other Crip members, but an expert allegedly linked the shotgun shells to Williams' gun, and several gang members testified that Williams had bragged to them about the crime. In 1981, Williams was tried and convicted in Los Angeles Superior Court of all 4 murders plus 2 counts of robbery and was sentenced to death. On April 20th of that same year, he was sent to San Quentin State Prison to sit on death row. It was stated that for the first few years, Williams had an issue with adjusting to the prison life. He ended up assaulting multiple guards and fellow inmates and was given 6.5 years in solitary confinement. After 2 years of solitary, Williams started to reevaluate his life choices and repented for his past actions. He attributed his transformation to God and began speaking out against the gang violence. In 1988, he filed for a federal appeal stating that he had been a changed man, but the appeal was denied. Once he was let out of solitary confinement, Williams in his new mindset began writing a book called Tookie Speaks Out Against Gang Violence with the help of co-author Barbara Becknell. This book was aimed at the youth about anti-gangs. A year after, Williams wrote an apology for his role in creating the Crips, stating, "I am no longer disease educated. I am no longer part of the problem. Thanks to the Almighty, I am no longer sleepwalking through life." Williams would go on to write several more books and be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. In 2004, Williams helped create the Tookie Protocol for Peace, a peace agreement for one of the deadliest gang wars between the Crips and the Bloods. He even received a letter from the president, George W. Bush, commending him for his actions, but despite the support and change of heart, he was still facing the death penalty. In 2005, Williams petitioned again for clemency. The defendants and prosecutors of Williams both had 30 minutes to plead their case to the governor, who was Arnold Schwarzenegger at the time. After their meeting, the governor cited the forensic evidence that linked Williams to the killing in 1979 and denied his bid for clemency. The governor stated that clemency power should not be used to nullify the jury's decision of guilt and sentence, except to prevent miscarriage of justice, and the facts do not justify overturning the jury's verdict or the decision of the courts in that case. With the protests from the NAACP and various supporters who fought the decision, on December 13, 2005, Stanley Tookie Williams III was executed by lethal injection at the San Quentin State Prison. From current gang members to celebrities and religious leaders, thousands of mourners came out to view the body of Williams at the Bethel AME Church. Starting at such a young age, Williams' life was submerged in a culture of violence and drug and without strict parental influence. He grew up idolizing criminals and mimicking pimps and drug dealers, but as he grew older, he understood what the violence amongst his people could do. The last words of Tookie Williams was, "The war within me is over. I battled my demons and I was triumphant." Teach them how to avoid our destructive footsteps. Teach them to strive for higher education. Teach them to promote peace and teach them to focus on rebuilding the neighborhoods that you, others, and I helped destroy. Alright family, that will bring this video to an end. Mr. Williams could have been one hell of a leader if he had took another path in life. tell me what you think about Tookie's case. Do you think he should have been allowed clemency and lived the rest of his life in prison? Or do you think the governor made the right decision? I really hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on for all my content. I should have my next video out in the next couple of days. So until then, stay mysterious, my friends.